So let's get with it. Tonight, the first symposium is about college theater. We have some wonderful people who have volunteered to come and guest from local, local college and university to come here. If you guys come up and have a seat here on the front of the stage. This is our set for the guys, which you guys are all going to see next week. And so we have been given strict orders that this is as much as we can.
My name is Weston Manders, and I'm here with Oglethorpe University.
My name is Karen Robinson, and I'm the interim chair in the Department of Theater and Performance Studies at Kennesaw State University.
I'm Jamie Lewins, and I'm the coordinator of design tech and the production manager also at Kennesaw State University.
I'm Jim Hammond. I'm the director of the Gainesville Theater Alliance, which is the collaborative program between University of North Georgia and Purdue University.
I'm David Thompson, and I am on a constant battle for the longest title on the campus of Agnes Scott College, which is David S. Thompson, PhD, the Annie Louise Harrison Waterman Professor of Theater and Chair of the Department of Theater and Dance at Agnes Scott College.
Yeah, I think that deserves that.
I just recently got that down to one breath.
So what I want to do with this time is I've given these guys some questions. We've already, so they're a little prepared for some things that I think are sort of general ideas to kind of get the ball rolling. So I'm going to ask each of them, we're going to go through and we're going to talk about those things. And then I'll turn it over to you guys, because I'm sure you probably have some questions as well that we may not answer, okay? So I'm just going to go down the row, and if somebody repeats themselves, that's quite all right. But the first question is name at least 3 things prospective students should look for in a university theater program. Why don't we just start with you? You're the closest to me.
That'll work. I didn't say my title. I don't have one. I graduated from Oglethorpe in May with a theater degree, and so I'm trying to make my way in this crazy professional theater world myself. But 3 things that I think that drew me to Oglethorpe specifically, and that you guys can think about when you're thinking about your own colleges and what is the best fit for you, is probably how quickly you can get involved in the program, and then what your specific goals are professionally, what you're trying to get out of it, and how the program is going to feed you into that. And then I guess the third biggest thing that I loved is that, you know, what sort of professional connections are there, or what kind of professional mentality do they have in the department while you're still in school? And when I found all the things that I wanted at Oglethorpe, and so that's what you should do.
Karen, how about for you? You can kind of start with.
Well, I think probably number one is that I would go and I look at the faculty who are teaching and making art there, and I learn about them and see how their areas of experience dovetail with my own. I think I also look for what is the student, we were talking about this, the student-faculty ratio. In other words, how much individual mentoring are you going to get is available to you? Because those personal mentoring, coaching connections are and networking are among the most valuable takeaways that you can get at a program. And then I guess third for now, although I could name many more, is like look at the relationship between the courses that are taught and how the titles and how they match up with your interests, and the production choices that are in the season. So that's what I'll leave it with for now.
Cool. Anything to
Well,
add?
I think probably the one that I would add was I just see if they're doing what you want to do. Look at the program and see if they're doing work that entices you, that invigorates your passion for what you want to do, or if they're doing things that you don't know if you want to do, but they look really cool. I think you want to go somewhere where they're doing things that will stimulate your growth, but also something that you already have a spark of.
I agree. I think you've got to test drive the car. You've got to get to the campus. You have to see the work. You have to sit in on the classes, and I think specifically, depending on your interests, but you're looking for challenging coursework. You're looking for quality productions, a program that knows the difference between mediocre and good and very good and very good and exceptional, and knows how to coach you to the next level. And you know, if the profession is what you're interested in doing, then you're looking for a program that's going to help you build those contacts, because that is everything.
I would look for the attitude and the energy among current students. Sometimes, I would not discourage you from talking to recent graduates or even older alumni of the institution, but you are going to follow the people who are there right at this moment, and that's going to have a sense of what you have. As with employment, a lot of what goes on a college or university campus is fit. You will, we've all seen it.
It's what? I'm sorry?
Fit.
Fit?
How well you fit, how well it feels right to you. And you're going to make that decision remarkably fast. It's the same thing with people make seemingly snap judgments about buying a car or buying a house. You will research and research and research, and then it will all fall to you, many of you. So I would recommend looking for fit. I would also recommend looking at how much the program connects you to the rest of the world, and beware any program that seems to exclude you from the rest of the world.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let's move on. David, let's start down at that end and we'll move back this way so we'll get a better chance to get started. So let's name at least 3 things university theater programs, even yours, look for in prospective students.
Women. Because I teach on the campus of a women's college. And
So that's the primary thing.
that is the primary thing. And since we are in a demographic era right now where we're approaching 60% female on college campuses, you can't help but look for women, but I suspect that a lot of campuses are therefore looking for men. So,
Except for yours.
well, it just depends on who you are on the campus. So I look for that. I look for energy, and I look for curiosity. But these are the same things I look for in my colleagues who have been teaching for 30 years too.
First of all, these are great questions, and I want to thank Mark and Tom for this program, because I think you had gotten the email out about 5 minutes before I was responding to your email going, what a brilliant idea, let me be a part of it if I can. And a lot of these questions are similar to what I ask any of the guest artists who come in and work with the GTA. The last question I always get is, what do you wish someone had told you when you were 18? And that's what a lot of these questions are about. So I jotted a couple of things down to take me to the answer as quickly as possible. And I think it was something that you mentioned a moment ago, Mark, and that was the word investment. What theater programs, what artistic directors in professional theaters are looking for are wise investments. You know, is this someone who is at a point in their life where they are prepared to capitalize on the opportunities that your program, this program will make available to them? So that's the first thing. Now, we obviously test you for a specific theatrical skill set, right? If you're actors, singers, dancers, designers. But that's probably, for us, only about 50% of what we're really looking for. And I think your answer was dealing with that issue as well. You know, we're looking for intellectually aggressive and self-motivated individuals, folks who are hungry to learn at this point in their life, hungry to collaborate and work with others, which is what the theater is all about. And we look for people who are pursuing and have an interest in lots of activities outside of theater. You know, one of the things that you may have already heard that we sometimes hear in theater is, go to the theater if it's the only thing you can possibly do and be happy, which is really rather tragic if that's the case. And two, it's the last kind of person the theater needs. In other words, we need people who could do a lot of things and be successful and be happy, but of all of those things, what they've chosen to do is theater, and they bring all those interests to the table. So we're looking for that as well.
That's interesting. When I was teaching governor school, I was in charge of the interviews, and one year interviewed 1,200 students, auditioning for 30 slots. But my favorite question was always to ask: if someone told you today you couldn't be an actor or a designer or a playwright or something, what would you do? And it was interesting because so many students thought it was a trick question. Oh, I'd do it anyway. I do theater anyway. No, I'd make it happen. I would do it. And I said, no, you understand. You've just been told you can't do that anymore. No, I would do it. My favorite answers were always, my favorite answer was a young man who said, that's a great question. Can I think about that for a minute? And I said, you take all the time you need. That's exactly what I want to hear. And he said, now you just told me I can't be an actor, because that's what he was auditioning for. I said, yeah. And he says, but you didn't tell me I couldn't be in theater anymore. I said, I want to be a playwright. Great, why? Now we have something to talk about. Another young lady told me she wanted to be a veterinarian, and I said, so why aren't you doing that? So the idea is, much like you said, it can't be the only thing you want to do in the world. Theater people, the most interesting ones are the ones who have lots of interests and vast assortment of things they're interested in. Thank you, please.
I think one of the things that we look for, you're going to hear the same answers from all of us in different words. I think one of the things that we look for is work ethic. Like, and it's you can use the words curiosity, you can use the words hunger, you can use any of that. But by the time you guys graduate from high school and go off to college, I like to tell my students, I can't chase you. I would love to chase all 200 some odd students that we have every day and say, please do this and please do this, but we can't. They have to chase us and chase knowledge and chase, so I want students who are there for the chase and want to make stuff and want to investigate and just are not happy if they're not moving forward. And you can't be late.
All that. Right, you could have this perfect profile to aspire to. All those, and I guess one of my favorite words is passion. I want people with passion to do all of these things we're talking about, and I want people who say yes. Yes, I'll try that, and that openness to every kind of experience. And to build on what you said about having other interests, I'll never forget when I taught at North Carolina School of the Arts, and Kathy Bates, the film actress, she was the keynote speaker, and I remember her talking to the audience, and she's got this great, assertive, sort of bold and brassy, and yet so vulnerable way about her. At one point she was talking to us, and then she turned, because at that point the graduating class was small enough that they could all sit on the stage. And she turned around to them and she just said to them, she said, just get a life! And that's kind of what you're saying, is, because in this field, you're bringing a rich and full life to the work you do, and so you need to experience and have that full life. So all that and more?
Great.
Yes. I think the biggest thing that I was able to come into school with from the opposite end of things, when I was 4 years ago when I came into Oglethorpe as a theater student, I think that the reason that I was able to get involved in that program is because I was willing to be flexible and I had a drive, and I didn't know everything about theater, and by far I didn't know much about Shakespeare. I'd never done it, and there we had Georgia Shakespeare Company on our campus, and I'd never even performed it before. And but it was about, I think, the fact that I was willing to admit those shortcomings or those whatever it may be, and go even further and harder towards it, and all that flexibility that we all seem to be talking about. I mean, as much as I wish I was acting 24/7, I'm doing a lot of other random stuff too to pay my rent, and you know, and I think that, you know, the liberal arts education that specifically that I liked about where I went to school, you know, that sort of mindset of being able to attack any task and conquer it. You know, I think that that's what's going to make you a bold designer and a bold artist and a bold actor, and that's what's going to make you a successful artist when you graduate from school, is the fact that you're willing to face anything. And I think that all the things I learned from performing, I was able to take to all those other things too. I'm not a vet, but you know, to be a better vet, or to be a better playwright, or to be a better art galleryist, which is what I'm doing now. So you know, I think that when we're looking at programs on our end, I mean, we look for people that are just not afraid, and it shows in their willingness to learn more and to stick their neck out there at the same time.
Cool. All right. Well, let's just throw these out, just generally speaking, so we can kind of move on. And this was something that I think a lot has changed in the last few years. That websites aren't the end-all and be-all for investigating university programs, but most people are at a loss as to other ways of researching a school and a program. So what tools do you recommend students and parents use in researching a program? Anybody?
I got one.
Go ahead.
Get your hiney to the campus. You need to have as personal, you have to have as personal an experience and contact with the department as possible. Go do a tour, go see a show, go talk to current students, go talk to current students outside the theater, go talk to the faculty. But I would say absolutely go sit in on the class, absolutely talk to the students, and you must see a show in their department. You need to see the work that they're producing. I'm a production manager.
Before or after that, I realized this is an old-fashioned tool, a telephone. Call someone, make an appointment to go see the director following the performance. Talk about what you have in mind, and if that's an unreasonable expectation, or if there are other considerations that have not occurred to you. This is how you help to shape your own future, because it's really about you. Each of us has had the experience of advising students, and as soon as that student, even with all the safeguards in place, that student can leave the office and do what she or he pleases. Because you're in charge of your own education once you get to campus. So you need to make those investigations and try to find out what's going on. That is particularly true in making the selection of the college, but it continues all the way through your degree program.
You've all already had a galvanizing moment that has drawn you to the theater. There was something that happened in your life where you went, I want to do that. And you started getting involved. If you are aggressive in pursuing a variety of colleges, you're going to have the same kind of moment with one of those institutions. You're going to be sitting in a classroom, or you're going to be sitting in an audience watching their work, and you're going to say, I want to be a part of that. And so get out there and see as many places as you can. You know, the internet obviously gives you a chance to see what their website looks like, but you're right, sometimes that's misleading. Although you can look at production photos, and that gives you some sense at least of production values. But talk to students, talk to current students, talk to alums. Now it's pretty easy. You can search on Facebook and pull up alums and send them emails. Go to YouTube. You know, and I don't know if every college would want you to do this, but you can now go to YouTube and search the college and theater program, and students are making videos all the time about stuff that's going on around that program. That may be good or bad, I don't know, but you're going to find out a lot about what's happening in that program through those types of
And if they posted production videos, call the department chair.
Okay, anything else? Okay.
I think,
Sure.
you know, you should develop a list of questions that has to do with all of your interests and goals and your curiosity again. And put that together with the phone call, with the visit, what have you, and really go out there, stick your neck out and ask some really challenging, profound questions of the folks that you talk to, whether they are faculty or students.
I think something we sometimes forget is that you guys are paying these guys to teach you. So you have to protect your interests because, university education is a very sizable investment. So make sure, there was a number of students that I dealt with at Belmont that after a semester went, I'm so unhappy here. And I went, why didn't you come? And they had simply heard from a friend of a friend that it was a good program, and they had applied and enrolled and auditioned and all that. And I said, you didn't know what the program was you were going to get? Why have you wasted this time and this money, this effort? Now you have to go out and look for something else again. So, yeah, have questions. Really take control. Yeah. Anybody else? Next one. We got a couple more, and then I'll open to you guys. I think this is one that a lot of you might want to be interested in. Is in approaching auditions and audition material for theater programs, what do you recommend?
Get as many people to listen to it as you can, I would say, before you come in. I think that's a good way to think about it. As many different kinds of ears as can hear it and give you a different perspective. That always helps me personally.
Anything else?
We do not require an audition for admission either to the college or to our program, and I find that for those who are in your position, that's often very humbling. I had auditions last week, and I had one young woman tell me, I've been doing this since I was 4. Her audition wasn't that good. And I had another pair who came in. I just came in to support her. I said, do you want to audition? Sure. And I told her what I was required. I said, oh, I can do that. She gave a brilliant audition. She's in my cast. Her friend is not. So I think you need to do a reality check about auditions. Aside from that, one thing that I came up with, I worked with the Southeastern Theater Conference, and by the way, our convention is still the largest in history, thanks to you as keynote speaker. So no one's topped it. No one's topped it since 07.
Wow.
So I get that, and I get to congratulate you. We deal with a lot of scholarship auditions, and some of them allow auditions to be uploaded on video. If it's one of those settings, do not do it in a bedroom or a kitchen or any other space around your home. Find something that is professional. It doesn't have to be a large theatrical space. It can be a rehearsal hall, but it needs to be something that's neutral or performative and highlights you. Rehearse the material, then rehearse the videography too.
Now, what do you mean by that, videography?
Rehearse the way that you are. Hopefully you're not shooting yourself, because that's deucedly hard to do. But if you have someone shooting you performing, make sure that you go through it a few times and see what it looks like. Not just behind the screen. Put it, the little viewer, put it onto a computer screen somewhere so that it simulates what I will see if you're uploading it, because that's a different experience.
By the way, I will offer that now in Atlanta there is a service called Casting Direct. You can Google them. It's 2 young men who worked for years in LA and New York as casting directors, and now they have based here. And for $20, they'll spend 15, 20, 25 minutes with you putting auditions on tape. They do this most often for actors submitting auditions to agents, and you might get 24 hours notice, and they email it to the casting director for the film or television series, but also they work with students. So it's very affordable, they're very professional, they teach auditioning technique too, and that's a good tool to know about here in Atlanta.
Let's open up the floor. Do you guys have any questions for these folks? This may be the only opportunity some of you have to
Get some questions right up. There is a hand. What do you have? And what's your name, please? Henry.
What is your name again?
Karen.
Karen.
Yeah.
You said you taught at both Carolina School of the Arts
Mhm.
and now KSU. Why did you switch?
Oh, let's see, how do I make that story? It had to do with my personal life. I made that move, but I also was ready for a different context. And this is a good opportunity to bring up the BA, BFA.
Right, there you go. That was the question.
North Carolina School of the Arts is a BFA program. And I actually was interested, once I decided I was going to leave there because I was going to move back down here, in a BA program. That's what I really cherish. The difference, both are fabulous, don't get me wrong. This is another question you would want to ask yourself. So the BFA is, and we're talking the undergraduate level, it is very much a conservatory style program where the larger percentage of your time will be in skills-based studio type classes, okay? The smaller percentage of your time will be devoted to liberal education, you know, what I would call book classes, right? Where you're learning practicing critical thinking, analysis, interpretation, and cultural history, whatever that program offers. So that your emphasis really is on developing those skills. A Bachelor of Arts program is going to give you a broader based education in the diversity of topics and experiences that we were alluding to earlier, that we liked that diversity of exposure. And so it tills your soil, the soil that is you, in a kind of wider, richer, more expansive way, shall we say, whereas the BFA will teach you how to grow that one kind of heirloom tomato. So if you know going into it, and you already have started to develop this passion, proclivity for a particular area within the theater, and you've already got some skills that will give you a competitive edge, because BFAs are gateway programs, like David was saying, that they would, while Aggie Scott, we don't have an audition to get in the program, they will have an audition to get in that particular specialization, then that might be the place for you. But again, then you want to visit the place and such. So I wanted to come to a BA context. I love the Bachelor of Arts, broad-based exposure, where in today's world, which I think artists benefit from being entrepreneurial, and by that I mean cultivating a diversity of skills in whatever the specialization is, even within that realm. And so it's an entrepreneurial set of skills, and it's an entrepreneurial kind of mindset where you might not go right into the niche that you thought you were cultivating. You might find some really oblique angle, like leading global tours where you impersonate characters like Lawrence of Arabia. I don't know, you know, so that it's not necessarily the traditional path.
I want that job.
I think that's really important. Most college and university students either change majors or change their anticipated major. So you might go in and not declare the major, but end up majoring in something that you had not expected to, say, just a year or two earlier. And this goes along with, part of this is economically based, but part of it's personality. The average person in the U.S. goes through 7 careers now.
Think about
Yeah. Now, if you're in a BA, a traditional broad-based program, it's easy to sample things even if you don't change your major or minor. Whereas if you're in a conservatory program, you better stay narrowly focused on that, because that was what you signed up for.
And if you're wanting to go into the musical, you know that, then the BFA makes sense to me. If you know you want to be a designer or a technician, then the BFA in tech design makes sense to me. But I agree. I think we offer all those degrees, including the BA, and I think the BA is the most valuable degree we offer. And this issue is a hot button for me. Because I think there's a lot of misinformation out there. And I'll never forget picking up the SETC magazine, Southern Theater, and looking at an article about what degrees mean. And it was basically saying, if you're wanting to go into professional theater, you need to get the BFA in acting or design or whatever it might be. The BA is for those who may want to teach, may want to, and I was pulling my hair out. And the irony was, in that same magazine, throughout the magazine, they had a series of what were called profiles of success, 12 of them, identifying people who had come through southeastern colleges and universities and were now leaders in the field. And 11 of the 12 were BAs.
There you go. I just gotta add something. The head of our theater department at the University of Tennessee was Dr. Ralph Allen, who was a theater history specialist, the author of Sugar Babies, and founded the Clarence Brown Theater Company, which is a professional equity theater company in residence at the University of Tennessee. And Sir Anthony Quayle was the first artistic director. I was the first student to perform with the Clarence Brown Theater Company. They chose a two-character play, Blood Knot. And so I went with the director to New York and sat in a casting director's office all day and read with actors, many of whom were from the Negro Theater Ensemble. And it was a day that changed my life. And it was a training program that was superb. All of this to say that Dr. Allen used to say on this topic, that art is about something. So the more you know about that something, the broader and deeper of a reservoir you have from which to draw to use your talent of acting or design or directing or writing to interpret and illuminate. And so there were many times where I was cursing myself for not getting a BFA or an MFA because the lines were harder to connect the dots. But when I look back at what I've done, I don't think I could have done it without that broad-based liberal arts education. Having said all of that, I think it's ultimately what's the best choice for that person. There would be other people who would benefit more by a BFA or an MFA. But in terms of how to think about the liberal arts degree, that has always stuck with me as a very helpful explanation.
Let me show you what a small world you're entering. Just a couple of years later, I was in the same room in the same building in Ralph Allen's theater history class, and Sugar Babies had opened the night before, and the reviews were coming in, and he canceled class in favor of the case of champagne.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Excellent. Well, we're running out of time here, but if you all please would stick around, we've got some refreshments upstairs. We're going to do a tour of the building so you guys can see the place. Now we can't let you guys get up on stage just for legal reasons, just because you're not insured. But we do want you we do want to take you downstairs so you can see the dressing rooms, and then we'll take you upstairs to the rehearsal hall. We got some food. So, yes. So thank you all. Please give everybody here on the panel a hand. If you guys are sitting around for a little bit, you can ask them individual questions if you want to speak to them individually. I'm sure that they'd be more than happy to talk to you guys. All right?